pressure looks good.
Following up.
Yikes. You bet. We don't need any more of these.
All right. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of NASA Spaceflight Live. Let's start with some AV checks here. Since you're part of our remote production crew, and we're literally doing this from our homes, let us know if you can hear and see me right now. I'll be your host. I'm John Galloway. If you watch my Twitch stream, you may know me as Das. Don't be confused. I'm getting more used to answering to everything. But just over here in YouTube chat, really quickly, tell me that you can hear and see me just fine. Am I pretty? Somebody tell me I'm pretty. I need some positive reinforcement here. Loud and clear, comm check good. Hello from the Netherlands. Good, perfect, excellent. All right, so we've got a fantastic NASA Spaceflight Live episode here for you today. Again, NASA Spaceflight Live is the NASASpaceflight.com live show that we've been putting on. I hate to call it a podcast, right? I really don't want to call it a podcast. It's a show. It's a live show that we've been doing, but we've been doing this for every Saturday for the past, I guess, 4 Saturdays, and then this will be the 5th Saturday. It's NASA Spaceflight Live version 1.0 launch 4 or NASA Spaceflight Live episode 5, I think is a good way to do that. But today we're going to be talking about some cool stuff, and we have some special guests, and for the first time, some special remote video coming in from a location that lots of people are interested in, so stand by for that. But we're going to be talking today about the SN4 prep for cryo proof, that of course down at Boca Chica. We've got the successful Starlink launch that happened just a couple days ago, and then we're going to spend a portion of the episode today talking about NASASpaceflight.com's 15-year anniversary. So 15 years ago is when our buddy Chris B at NASA Spaceflight, actual guy that started the site, started up NASA Spaceflight, and he is going to be here with us today talking about that. So those are our topics. Now you know what we're going to talk about. Oh man, that's just mean. Come on. I took a shower and everything. Seriously? Let's pop over and introduce our special guests for today. Is it going to work? It's going to work. All right. So our guest for today over on my side here, I don't know if that's the left or right side, we have Chris Gebhardt. Chris, how's it going today?
I'm doing just fine. How about you, Das?
I'm hanging in there, walking and talking. So Chris will be joining us, and then also, he's already joined us. His camera's on the screen. And then on the other side, we've got Chris Bergin. Of course, Chris Bergin, the creator of NASASpaceflight.com. Chris, how's it going?
A good evening.
All right. So chat, audio levels, were you able to hear both Chris's? I could just say, were you able to hear Chris, I guess, right? But let me know.
Chris's?
Yeah, the Chris's, the Chris-I? What's the plural of Chris?
Roman? Very good question.
Romani? Anyways, that is what we are going to be doing. So if we can have everything good to go, we've got the Chris's over here. People asking questions already, so let's get to that. As we go through our segments here today, we have a very short number of segments. Not a lot of spaceflight news going on this week, but during the segment, if you have a question for us, tag us in chat at NASA Spaceflight. That will actually make it highlight here, and we've got a team of people that are standing by to get your questions and put them into a queue so that we can miss them. Please be patient. We can't always answer every question within 3 seconds of you posting it, because there's a lot of questions. There's honestly 1,600 people watching, and if each of you asked one question, we would be here until Tuesday trying to answer you. So please be patient if you post up a question for us. Put it into chat. Also, the super chats, when the super chats come through, same story. Totally appreciate the support. Hang in there. If that comes through, when we get to a part, I'll do some shout outs and say thanks for the super chats there. And then also new here for NASA Spaceflight, the YouTube channel, the channel memberships. So if you join the channel as a channel membership, that'll pop up, and then we'll go through and we'll have a shout out for the channel memberships over the course of the show. Also, we've got some very special shout-outs for the end of the show, people that are at certain levels of membership. Which level? Chris, which level is the one that we put on the end? Flight launch?
Launch director.
Launch director. All right. So if you become a member of the YouTube channel at the level of launch director or above, you actually get a credits screen at the end. Let's actually see if it works. Yes! A credits screen. Look at that. Levi Shin and Jared Yak. Okay, now that we know that works. Whew. Okay. All right. So, anyways, that's the show for today. The first topic that we're going to get to here is going to be Starship SN4, and everybody's going to be talking about this today. You know, sometimes it's this person is the expert for that, and this person is the expert for that. We have probably the best expert for Starship chasing down at Boca Chica with us today. The music you hear, the sounds you hear in the background are actually, wait for me here, are actually coming live from Boca Chica right now. Mary, are you here with us?
I certainly am.
So, Chris and Chris, take it away. Mary, take it away. I'm just going to be the guy clicking the buttons over here.
I guess it'll be me to talk first, as I'm always talking first. So, this is a live view of Starship SN4 on the actual launch mount, ready for cryo testing tonight. Now, there'll be the proof testing first with NH2, and then the big test with the cryo testing. Now, that's where they've lost every Starship so far. Mary, are you hopeful this one will survive?
Absolutely. This is the one.
This one is roughly the same as the SN3. The thing with SN3 was it wasn't the actual Starship's fault. It was a test configuration error. So providing SpaceX has sorted that out, there's no reason why this one shouldn't survive. And if it does survive, then we'll be looking at a Raptor static fire test. It'll be 3 Raptors for the first time ever, which is going to be a test in itself, and then hopefully a hop. Now, you're looking at we're watching with you. This is a live view of the actual launch mount itself. There's still people at the pad, but have they closed the doors to the access doors, Mary?
They actually have. They're both closed.
So do we know how long that roughly will be? They should be on track for the opening of the window, which I think is 9 p.m. Is it 9 p.m. local?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So
that would be 2 a.m. UTC,
Yeah.
right? 5, yeah. For everyone not in the United States, yeah.
Yeah, for everyone who doesn't sleep like me.
what does that mean, the access doors? Like you say, they close the access doors. There's like hatches in the side of the tank, or what?
Yeah, there is. I mean, Mary sees them.
Yeah, there's 2 of them.
Just 2
One's
of them,
up
Mary.
higher than the other, but they're
Right.
both closed.
So we can see 2 lifts now actually on Starship itself. And then near the top where the COPV is, and we've got one down at the bottom COPV. I wonder if they are preparing just to clear the pads soon. They're doing in closeouts now, and the COPV is getting pressurized. So we could post this cryo test, can't we? So, and the thing, Mary, is we're looking at SM4, but SM5 is already in VAB getting stacked. So they're going to have 2 Starships at the same time.
Right.
Incredible, yeah. But last night you got some great video of the nurse cone being put on, and Elon replied to your actual tweet, didn't he?
Right. He did. I was surprised.
You want me to
He
bring
said
that?
on that one that the nose cone itself might not be for SM5. It might
Right.
be for a future one, or it might be a test. So I think they're just testing how to stack the nose cone onto a section, because the thing we all believe is the actual VAB isn't tall enough to take a full Starship stack with the nose cone on top. It's not tall enough. So we might be seeing some ways they're going to get around it by doing like half stack, bring it out, and then stack it at the launch mount. So that'll be interesting to thing to see there. I think we've got some video later, haven't we, Dad? So I don't want to
Yeah,
talk
Chris,
too...
you want me to bring that other video up?
Yeah, let's get it up.
All right. It's like we have the live view from Boca Chica right now, and I didn't want to switch off of it. But let's go see if we can bring that up really
We just
quickly.
stop you there. Tim Dodd, Everyday Astronaut, just sent us $100. Thank you very much, Tim.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Very
Huh?
thanks.
Hang on a second.
It's not just the money, it's the fact that Tim's on here.
What?
I'm not nervous at all now. Thanks a lot, Tim. No pressure.
Did I see that correctly? Yeah, geez, what's up, Tim?
Yeah.
How's it going?
What's that big red thing?
Oh.
Wait, you know, one thing, and I mean, I don't know, Mary, I mean, just from your perspective, but like, it seems like every morning I wake up and like, I see all the progress, you know, in one single video from the day before. And it's just almost like, it's like they're going for the land speed record here on how to build a rocket, how quickly to build a rocket. I mean, you just turn around and there's a new one. Is that kind of what it feels like to you down there?
Yeah, it certainly seems like it moves a lot quicker. A lot of progress in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
The thing with SN5 is that they're going to fly down with the nose cone by the sound of things. We know that SN4 is going to fly with the nose cone from what Elon's been saying. It's going to hop as we see it here with 3 Raptors on. It's going to look quite, it'd be like Starhopper, but even almost hilarious compared to it because it'd be literally just a flat top and it's going to hop about 150 meters, I reckon, don't they? Like Starhopper did, and come down on the launch pad. It's going to be crazy to watch, really, if you think about it.
With like 3 Raptors, I mean, what kind of throttle profile do you think they're going to end up with on these engines? Because I think if they just lit 3 Raptors and let this thing go, like boom, it would hit 150 meters.
Yeah, we're just talking about Tim being on here. He was asking Elon how deep they can throttle the Raptors because these are powerful engines, 3 of them. It's going to really going to take some beast controlling going on there when it comes back, come back down again, especially when it lands.
Yeah, you don't want it to pull like a Kerbal and take back off again because you can't throttle it down enough.
Well, Starhopper came back down so fast because the engine was starting to go right at the end, but it dug the feet into the actual launch pad itself. So you had to dig it back out again. Yeah. Have we got some other video, Daz, of the SN5, which Mary's taken?
Absolutely. Are there some timestamps we're jumping to, or what are we...
Just go straight through them.
So that was the launch site preps. The other, this is all the SN5 stuff, right?
Yeah,
or this is launch site preps for SN4. The next one I've got is the SN4 roll to the pad. Which video are you looking for? There's a lot of them.
Well, this one here, that's actually SN3. This is the thing about Starship. You've got to keep up with the Starships.
Oh, jeez.
Starship SN3. So moved out of the way to make room for SN4's arrival.
Yeah, I've got the roll to the pad. I've got the, let's see, the preps for cryo. I've got SN5 stacking begins. Which one you want, Chris?
Yeah, take any of them. That's
any of them.
Go in order.
I'm going in order. All right, good deal.
And there you can see on the actual launch mount itself there, they've got little actuators to test the make sure that's all done during pressurization. Now that's SN4 coming out of the VAB. It looks a lot better as well. That's the thing about these new illustrations of Starship. They are looking better each time. You can see how they're improving their well processes. And it's actually quite funny because
I loved this one.
They bring the roll lift and they come down this road out of the mist like something out of a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
It actually looks like a ship going by. Have you ever seen like a ship going by the port in the distance? And
and I love how Starhopper's standing guard over the gate. It's like, you know, shows your ID, please.
It's like, you know, you always, like the military base has the F-4 Phantom standing at the gate, right? Yeah. It's like the gate guardian, honestly, for the Boca Chica launch site there, I think.
But I'll tell you one thing, I'd love to drive that roll lift. Yeah. It looks like a lot of fun.
God. That's just such cool video. Mary, thank you so much for, again, we can't repeat enough the dedication that Mary has when she goes out there and literally stands by the side of the road for hours waiting for this stuff to happen. Mary, thank you for doing that.
Hey, you're all welcome.
It's not just us as well, it's for everyone because the community, there's like a Starship community now, isn't there? So it's literally for everybody. With these YouTube videos, we can put them out there and everyone, you know, they're out there. So it's the whole community can get to see them so everyone benefits.
Yeah. Gosh.
I just love this. I just love the roll of Starship to the launch pad. It just looks ridiculous in a best positive possible way of saying it.
It doesn't look right.
It doesn't look like a rocket, right?
Why is that silo
it just looks
moving?
like they're moving a grain silo around Nebraska, right?
Like water towers, haven't we? Now we've got grain silos.
Oh, I'm making some changes live here while we do this, y'all. So bear with me.
Yeah, we've got the cryo test later on tonight then, so hopefully it'll finish soon because you were out all last night with the nose gun, so hopefully they'll get this test done and dusted before it gets too late.
Right.
Yeah, but again, as what Daz said, everyone appreciates you so much. It is really everything you do, and Tim's just said another $20.
Wait, what?
Tim's practically funding this show.
All right. Stream's over.
Message. Tim Dodd. Everyone knows who Tim Dodd is now. Cheers to Mary and all her hard work. So there
Absolutely.
You go. Which is, I can only echo that as well.
All right, cool. And y'all know, you can see that I'm moving things around in real time. I apologize for it, but I kind of don't apologize for it. So
they're taking the load spreader off, haven't they? Taking the load spreader off on the crane. Two little lifts. It's amazing, these lifts, even not in time lapse, they're just like little armies of machines just hoisting up humans to try and work on this Starship.
Yeah.
What's ridiculous about that though is like that time lapse, like you watch it and you go, okay, right, it's a time lapse, but the scale of the size difference here, it doesn't actually look like they're moving absurdly fast compared to it.
Yeah, I mean,
You know?
you could run these videos at normal time just to be fascinating, but it'd be like an hour long.
Yeah, well, yeah.
We have to basically time lapse them just to keep them to a abbreviated version of them. But yeah, also the time lapse is quite hilarious because you see all these SpaceXs running around. It kind of fits.
That's actually
Starship.
how fast they're working on Starship. That's real time, actually.
I was going to say, that's our master plan. That's actually real time, yeah.
It's got these humans who can walk really fast.
Yeah. Oh, hey, that's actually a video
they're
of
the tiles, yes.
Yeah.
Now that's interesting because they're
Back.
pinned on, literally, aren't they? They're not stuck on, they're pinned on. I think Elon replied to a video of another process where they're stamping the pins in. He said pretty much. So that's how they've done it. They're probably just testing to see how it copes with the vibrations of what would be the static fire. And also, I think the cryo proofing will be a good test as well because they want to see how it reacts to the reaction of the steel under cryogenic pressures.
Well, and I think this video, I mean, this particular shot of it, the one thing I thought first when I saw it was how great that is of an example in terms of how thin heat shields actually are.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you think of these big, thick things on the outside, right? And they are so not.
You know what made me think as well is that the testing on this vehicle now. Remember what happened with Columbia when Columbia first arrived at Kennedy Space Center? All the tiles fell off.
Yes.
Right.
So they're literally thinking ahead to making sure their tiles don't fall off.
Yeah.
Quite clever, really, if you think about it.
So
Yeah,
they
you don't want to lose your heat shield at liftoff. That's not the best way to get back home.
So these aren't glued, right? They have like little studs that are welded to the surface or something. How are they attached?
Well, the video he agreed with was literally showing like a machine pinning process.
Right.
Putting the tiles on top of the pins. There'd be some proprietary reason for not showing it being put on actual Starship itself, but he agreed with that video that was given as an example of what he think the process was.
Yeah. So I really wonder if someday we're going to see, have you ever seen a flown shuttle? That's a dumb question. But if you've ever seen a flown shuttle and each individual tile is labeled with a like a serial number sort of thing.
BO
And then
107.
Yeah. I wonder if we're ever on Starship going to see these tiles labeled out that way, or they're just all the same, so they don't need to be numbered. Because the tiles on the shuttle were very specifically shaped for every single spot on the shuttle, right?
Yeah. There's TPS maps, and there's thousands and thousands of tiles, each with their own identification number, each with their own orbiter number.
Yeah.
The ones that have survived and been passed on to schools and stuff, they're collector's items. We've got a thread on the forum which says identify this tile.
Yeah.
And we can take from the number which shuttle it was on, which flights it was on, because it was usually multiple flights, and then we can document its history.
Yeah.
So this little tile, a brick-sized tile, there's quite a history behind it.
Yep.
I mean, I got one myself personally, but you know, it's fantastic.
So popping back over to Mary, Mary, that may be something to look for one day. See if because we get these crazy zooms, these photos that Mary takes, right? And you can read people's scrawlings on the side of the Starship. And it's, there's little numbers and things that people have written on there. This side up, I think, was one of them. I'd be really curious if we ever get a picture of something written on a tile, Mary.
Right. Well, we'll keep looking.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
There was definitely some doodles on some of the early steel rings.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
They
again,
were
I've popped back over to Mary's live video. This is actually live video from Mary. We're sort of cheating here. We're bringing this in via a Zoom call, so I'm having to upscale it some. You can tell that it's pixelated. It's not even really Mary's phone that's doing this. It's the fact that I've got a little zoom window that I'm having to sort of super convert and to make larger for your screen because we're broadcasting in 1080 and I'm only got like a little 320 window coming across Zoom here, right?
I mean, the cool thing is this is live and it's from Mary.
Yeah, you can see people working. I mean, there's still somebody on that one lift.
Yeah.
That's just cool.
Yeah, I think we're up to date on Starship, Daz, so I think we'll let Mary get off because she never stops. So I can't even tell her if she's going to go for a rest or not. She deserves one.
What are we going to do? Do we have some Q&A come through? Or
Yeah.
let's check the Q&A chat queue real quick because there's quite a few questions. So, Mary, are you still good for another 5 minutes? There may be a question or two for you?
Absolutely. I'm here.
All right, cool. And also, y'all, Mary's outside. Like, you can hear the cars driving by and stuff like that, right? So thanks, everybody, for understanding. This is literally Mary out doing her job. She's on the side of the road. There's birds chirping. There's trucks driving by. There's beep beep as the roll lifts back up and stuff. But that is an actual live shot, and the sounds you hear are an active environment. They're working on Starship right now. So some questions. The first one here is from Killian Alexander 30. It says, where or when is the cryo test? So do we know where it is? It's going to be at Boca Chica, right there. It's on the screen right now, right?
9 p.m. I think the window, opens at 9 p.m.
Yeah, is that when the window opens? The 9 p.m. you said?
Yeah. So that'll be roughly when they'll start doing the test. The test itself lasts for hours, at least on SN1, SN3.
Mary, do you think they're tracking for 9 p.m. or do you think it's going to be late at night? Are there any indications you get as like, oh yeah, that truck's there. That's usually a sign it's going to happen.
Or like when you have to leave.
They've still got a few hours to finish up before, they start. And as we know, they just, when they're ready, they'll start.
When they're ready, they'll go.
Yep, that's it.
When they do the test, you can't be where you are right now. You're too close for the actual test. You'll have to back off a ways, right?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Have to be past just at the hard checkpoint.
We know why from SN1.
Yeah.
That thing went flying, didn't it?
Yeah.
All right. So we got the where and the when. We're looking at a window opening for a cryo test tonight. But again, it's SpaceX. They'll do it when they're good and ready. Here's one. Okay, so here's one. This is from Doug Iglukiak. This is a question for Mary. Mary, what sort of camera equipment do you use? The images, you have very clear, crisp images and video that we're posting here on the channel every day.
Well, I use two Nikon cameras, a
right.
D3500 and a D5600, and Sigma lenses.
It's like a stack of different lenses, I think. You carry around a bunch of stuff as you move to the different locations, and it's a balance between how many cameras can I carry and do I want to carry all these cameras, right?
I have no choice.
You have no choice. Do you have like a little wheelbarrow or something you push around, or is it just like...
Nope. Just camera bags over the shoulder.
It's all you with camera bags over the shoulder. I love it. Here's one from Nick Robinson real quick. This one says, which serial number do you think they'll do the controlled belly flop skydive fall maneuver? Anybody want to take that one?
Yeah, I reckon SN5.
Yeah?
Do
I'm
they
being
need
optimistic. Now, the plan, I reckon, is currently SN5, but I am being optimistic. They've got to get through milestones. It's always about milestones. They've got to pass this cryo test. Then they've got to pass the Raptor static fire.
Right.
Then they've got to pass the hop. They might do several hops. They might do several static fires. We just don't know. It depends until they get the results they want.
Yeah.
And then they'll try for this.
And
hop,
they need the new fins, right? Before they can do that belly flop.
Yeah,
maneuver.
they need so much permission for it because it's going to be 20 kilometers high.
Yeah.
So come back down as a belly flop. Tell you what, I want to be there for that.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah. I don't care. I want to be there for that. Nice.
That'd be ridiculous.
And I want a nice clear day so we can see that sucker falling. You know?
I mean, shuttle re-entries were good enough. Aggressive re-entries, landings were good enough, but this belly flop.
Yeah. I mean, the belly flop should happen within visual range of the landing pad, right?
Well, yeah.
Like if you're on the ground at the pad, you should be able to see it do this maneuver.
SpaceX filmed Starhopper, so we can assume they're going to film the hop. We can assume they're going to film this test flight. So
Yeah.
we'll at least get that.
Jeez. And we know that they're not putting fins on this one specifically, right? So SN4 is not getting fins. We know that from Twitter, I think.
And they're kind of playing around with the aero surfaces for SN5, 6 and onwards. So, yeah, it's all work in progress, but not for SN4 now.
Gotcha. All right, let's get to a couple more questions. We have a couple more minutes here talking about Starship and Mary. Of course, we want to cut Mary loose so that she can continue to do her normal...
That's all I'm thinking about, yeah.
So here's another one. We ask this every week, right? When do we think the Raptor tests and hop will take place? Chris B., you first. What are you looking at now? Early May, mid-May?
Oh, you see, again, back to my milestone thing. They've got to pass these things one at a time. We get too far ahead of ourselves, we'll jinx it.
Right.
Rubbish, but
so no guess on when it's going to happen.
I'll make a guess. I'm all for guesses. If this cryo test goes well tonight, they could static fire next week.
Static fire next week? Cool.
Yeah,
Chris
remember
G.
they've got to do several tests for the Raptors. I think it's called spin prime test first.
Right.
Everything looks good. Then they'll fire the Raptors.
Gotcha.
We might have some aborts after like half a second or whatever, but I think next week if all goes well tonight, next week.
Right. Chris G, what do you think? Tracking things.
Just for the static fire?
Yeah, a static fire, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Next week and a half. Yeah, for static fire, I'd say conservatively, if this is the one that's going to do the hop, maybe 3 weeks.
Gotcha. And remember, y'all, we don't have it. This is not an official announcement from SpaceX. We're not repeating a news press release or something like that, right? When I ask people's opinion, that is an opinion. We all follow this stuff. We sort of watch, and we're really excited about it. And there's little clues and things you can see, like, oh yeah, that engine rolled up in the Raptor van or whatever.
Yeah.
But this is not an official announcement or anything. This is us sort of guessing based on what we know, right? So I want to make that really clear.
There's two ways to follow this. One is the visual look of it, Mary's videos and other people's photographs and whatever. And there's also Elon's tweets. They're the two ways to find out what's going on. And Elon's tweets are the official news.
Yep.
And then of course you've got the parameters of tests slipping and moving backwards and forwards. So it's something you got to keep an eye on every day to keep a track on.
Gotcha. So 2 more minutes here. I'm just going to try to get through as many Starship questions as we can. The tiles that we were looking at, so these tiles right here, are those tiles made of that Pika X material? Is that what they're made of? Do we know?
Have I got that question?
Okay, yeah.
You know what? I'm not too sure. You'd assume so from the fact that it's Pika X is SpaceX's proprietary version of the TPS, which is used on Dragon.
Right.
But you know what? I am not entirely sure, and I'm not ashamed to say I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think they've said, honestly, of what they're made of. Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so I'll even go this far. I mean, we've got the pictures of the tiles mounted on the side, but do we even know officially that these tiles are made out of actual heat sheet material? What if these are placeholders or size fits or something like that, and they're made out of, clearly not cardboard, but something else? Do we even have an official announcement saying, yes, that is heat sheet material?
No official announcement on this at all. Yeah.
So, again, we're sort of speculating what these tiles are made of.
Unless we might have missed a reply from Elon in some like chain thread somewhere, but I personally not seen it.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of people talking in chat about the types of tiles that they're using and stuff. But again, we're not doing an official press release here. We're not SpaceX. We're looking at a photo that was taken by Mary and sort of guesstimating, like, oh wow, is that heat shield material? Is that not?
People are saying it's made of glass for some reason in chat, so they must have seen something.
Yeah.
Been said somewhere.
So some people are saying Elon said they were testing some different types, maybe.
I've missed an Elon tweet somewhere.
Yeah, another great question here. There's multiple tiles attached. I wonder if maybe they're testing different ways to attach them. I don't know,
They're testing the color black.
Yeah, they're testing the color black. It's like, does it look good? Now we're going to take Photoshop and we're going to cut this and paste it all over the thing to see what it's going to look like. Again, y'all, we love looking at stuff like this. We're all playing armchair rocket engineer, right? When we look at photos and like, oh yeah, it's this, that, and the other. But we do want to make it very clear when we're sort of guessing, or it's a lot of fun to guess about stuff like this, right?
Yeah, that's half the fun of it.
Yeah, it really is. So we got one more question here. Let me see. I'm seeing. Let's see. Well, there's a bunch of questions about some cost of the test here, but I don't know that we have a lot of information about exactly what SpaceX is spending on Starship.
Well, there's two answers to that for a start.
Right.
One is it's SpaceX's cost. It's not. A lot of people say, why is NASA paying for this? It's in the field. Right? It's not NASA paying for it. It's SpaceX who are paying for it.
Right.
The second thing is they have a funding reason for it already because of the Japanese astronaut is going to go around the moon. He's paying milestone awards to them as part of his full payment towards this mission.
Right.
He paid a milestone payment for the Starhopper 150-meter hop. So they probably paid us some kind of milestone for this 20-kilometer hop. So that's why they're also pushing for it because it's part of their reasoning financially.
Gotcha.
If it all works out from SpaceX, they'll make a killing on this. A reusable, super heavy lift vehicle.
Yeah, absolutely. And one more question here. This actually came in as a super chat from Captain Ron Solo. Captain Ron Solo, thanks for the super chat there. When do we think we'll see the first super heavy prototype? I can't even imagine a super heavy prototype being out there at Boca Chica.
Well,
it's 2.5 times the size of what you see before you.
Yeah.
I think this year.
You think so? This year?
Well, I mean, when you boil right down to it, right? I mean, well, what's the difference between the Super Heavy and the Starship? Okay, the welding's the same, the tanks are the same. It's the number of Raptors, right? It's the thrust structures.
Right.
I mean, I'm oversimplifying it to a degree.
Sure.
It's a lot more rings.
Right. It's more rings, but like the basic elements of what you see here with Starship are also the basic elements of the Super Heavy booster itself, which is part of the great simplicity of the design, you know.
And there's one thing I really love about Mary's videos is the Smolder videos where she's just driven past the whole entire facility. And the first thing you come across is a super heavy pad.
Yeah.
That's just the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah.
The fact that they've got a super heavy pad already there, which is not this what you're looking at now. This is the Starship pad. Before it, I think it's on the left-hand side of this viewpoint,
right,
it's a super heavy pad. So they've got that ready to go.
I don't know that
incredible.
I can find that very quickly. I don't have anything here labeled that.
It's multiple videos ago.
Yeah.
I just actually thought of it top of my head, otherwise I got it queued up for you.
Gotcha.
I was just going to say there is no pad there yet.
No, but it's like
The area is there, but there's no.
I just love the fact they got a big sign on the fence saying super heavy pad.
Right.
Yeah, there's no like structure or anything yet, but it's the
kind of saying
designated area.
This is our intentions.
Oh my gosh! But guys, you should see the flame deflector at 39A for Super Heavy. I mean, good Lord! Like, and it's literally just the bare skeleton of the flame deflector. Like,
if you took a ski jump, those indoor ski jumps where they put artificial snow on, you take all the snow off and just leave the structure. That's what it looks like. It's fantastic.
yeah, pretty much.
Oh, wow. So I think that comes to the end of our segment. We literally just sat here and talked for 35 minutes about Starship, just chatted. We barely even showed any pictures
if you thought
or
that
anything.
35-minute chat was amazing, wait for the next one.
And I did. I know that a lot of the time here I kept Mary's camera on the screen. Again, look at this. Look at this. If you switch back and forth between these two videos, well, of course, it went off as soon as I did that. But this is actually a live feed from Boca Chica. That's the new. That's
Boca Chica.
That's the drink. How does Mary stay awake for long periods of time to film all this? She drinks Boca Chica. That's terrible. But this is a live view from Boca Chica right now because Mary is actually dialed in on the line. Again, this is Zoom resolution. We're upscaling it. We're actually sending a lot more equipment down to Mary to bring a lot more live stream goodness from you. So, soon we will not be on Zoom with Mary. Soon we will have actual high-quality video like we get from the Cape with Chris Gebhardt over here. So stay tuned for that, y'all. We may have some live stream goodness live from Boca Chica coming up. Are we ready to move on to the next shindig here?
We are.
All right.
I think we are, yeah.
Mary, again, thank you so much for dialing in. We really appreciate the time. We appreciate everything you're doing out there.
Why, thank you. My pleasure.
Mary.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Mary.
Chat, over here, chat. Everybody in chat right now, say thank you to Mary, Boca Chica Gal. On Twitter, she's at Boca Chica Gal, right?
Absolutely crazy now. Yeah.
But put some love for Mary, who is the person who brings us all of these amazing videos that you can find here on the channel. For real, for real. So I'm going to do this real quick. Look at this, a lot of love for Mary. Thank you, Mary. Some hearts in chat.
Capital letters, you have no idea.
Hundreds of people saying thank you to Mary right now. Mary, on behalf of everybody who's watching, I can't even read this. It says, thanks, Boca Chica Gal. Uh-oh. I hope that doesn't stick.
You've started something, else.
Yeah.
Absolutely, thanks, Mary. It's still scrolling, Mary. The YouTube chat is still scrolling. Everybody's saying thank you, we love you. Thanks, Mary. Thanks for all you do.
Well, I love doing what I do, and I love sharing it.
All right. Well, we can go ahead and let you go now. And so we're going to do the quick switch here. Michael Baylor, stand by to give me video if you could. But we'll do that trio intro. And Michael Baylor, can we get video from Michael? All right, we can. So let me fix this back over. We're just shuffling our cameras real quick here, y'all. Okay. There we go. Now it's back online. All right. So the next thing that we're going to do is handle all the ridiculous super chats that came in while we were chatting. We answered a couple questions, but while we were hanging out with Mary and answering questions, just a stack of super chats came in. We got $3 from Jared there. Everyday Astronaut. So this was Everyday Astronaut saying, I finally caught this live. Yes, thanks for all you do, NASA Spaceflight. All the diligent rocket stalkers in Boca Chica. Everyone here watching. It's like a paragraph. Nice. I guess for $100, I'll read a paragraph. Everyone here for watching and supporting NSF. Throw them some love, a like, and a buck is what Everyday Astronaut said, and did $100. So Everyday Astronaut, Tim, thank you so much for the support there, helping us keep on keeping on. We've got Beamer Geezer it would be. $50 from Beamer Geezer. To Mary and all the NSF staff, thanks for all the wonderful videos. Rman24 did 15,000 ISK. That seems like a lot. Anybody know what an ISK is?
Icelandic kroners, it's $102.
Wow.
US.
Wow.
That's $102 currency converted or whatever. Rman24, thank you so much for the support as well. Actually, that was the next line in chat. They translated it for me, and I just didn't read it first.
I was trying to help you out.
I appreciate you, Chris. Thanks. There was another 20 from Everyday Astronaut. Cheers to Mary and all her hard work. Another 1,500 ISK, the Elastic Kronas from Armin24. We had Eamon Hendren, Canadian, $3.99. Armin24 did another 3,000 Icelandic Kronans. James Williams Blakey, $10 in New Zealand. All hail the tiles. $5 from Pampalop. We love you, Mary. Please keep doing this. You're capturing history. That's for sure. Pampalok, you're not wrong about that. Tyler, love your dedication, the constant updates. Please continue putting descriptions in the video clips. Much love from Nashville, Tennessee. Thank you very much, Tyler. Urbu Boy was €5. Thanks to the whole NSF team. Captain Ron Solo, $19.99. When do you think we'll see the first super heavy prototype? That was a question we got. And Captain Ron Solo, another $1.99, asking about how we spend the super chats. So Chris, want to go through how we spend the super chats? What does that go towards?
More equipment for a start, so we can get more equipment for it, and also it's expensive. It's not a cheap thing, is it, Chris? Because you actually, I'm just sat on my backside basically, but you go out there and do the actual live launches, etc. So
yeah, I mean, it's the upkeep of the equipment, the upkeep of the broadband, and everything that we need to bring everything is what is supported by the super chats.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
thank
you.
Our ad revenue and everything.
Because someone mentioned about putting descriptions in the videos. We don't always, because some of them it's just basically, we know it's SN4. We know SN4 is doing this. You can see it visually. You don't have to put SN4 on the launch pad. It'd be pointless. But the improvements in the editorial is the difference between me doing Bandicam, nobody laugh, and Jack using his Premiere and as a professional editor, getting the proper touches to the videos and making what Mary takes look even, presentable on screen, because we've got to represent Mary. Never mind, the quality of the channel.
Yep.
We've got to not make sure we don't let her down. So it's all about incremental improvements. It all goes back into the channel. That's the important thing to say.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, everybody with the super chats, I know that was a lot of super chats to go through, but we appreciate you. We love doing this. We're all passionate about doing this, but there are expenses involved with it, cameras and modems and data and getting things set up and servers that we use and all that sort of stuff. So we really do appreciate all the support making all this happen. Next thing that we've got going on here, I've got the weekly launch recap. So, Chris G., you want to take it away with Starlink here?
Yeah, so in terms of launches this week, we had two, which was a wonderful and welcome change from the lull that we have. This is a great photo from Julia Bergeron, who was there, one of the media members there, of the 7th flight of Starlink launching from 39A. It was a gorgeous launch. I mean, we could see the rocket for quite a ways as it arced down range. And even though I lost it in our live stream camera toward the end of first stage flight, I could actually still see it with my naked eye, which was pretty cool. It was the 4th time this particular booster flew. It landed successfully on, of course, I Still Love You. They have been battling some weather in the Atlantic coming back, the same storm systems that rolled through Florida that they actually advanced the launch for, passed over them out at sea. So their return to Port Canaveral has been somewhat delayed and somewhat slower than usual, but a wonderfully successful launch. It brought the total number of Starlinks launched to 422, 419 of them in orbit, with the 3 that have come back in. And they fished the payload fairings out of the water, all around a great mission. We understand there's one more left for SpaceX before Demo 2. Launches in a month, the 8th Starlink mission, which will be going from pad 40. So the next rocket you'll see on this pad with the tower there at 39A is the crew vehicle for that launch. But it was great. It was good to be able to bring it to everyone as well, and to be there for it. We followed very strict guidelines that NASA and SpaceX gave to us, and everyone remained safe and at a distance from each other, and sort of helping prove out some of the things we might be needing here next month. But great launch.
Yeah, and Chris, I just got the video up. You said great launch, and I just queued up the video that you took. This was the live stream, live from the Cape.
Can I just say I'm always amazed by tracking shots, that it doesn't go off screen a lot. I mean, the downside of it is I couldn't tell you what this launch actually looked like because I never looked up at it.
Welcome to my world.
Some of the sacrifices we make to bring you videos like this.
Yeah, Chris, you did an absolutely fantastic job tracking this thing. Believe me, I know. I've been out there. I've done it myself, and it's not easy to even keep the rocket in frame. So massive props for keeping this thing in the camera frame there so you can see it, even through Max Q right there.
Yeah.
Excellent. Did we miss anything else for Starlink there? There were a couple other pictures and stuff, but I mean,
not really. I mean, it was kind of a picture perfect launch. Right beforehand, Elon actually said via Twitter, gave the reason for the engine failure on the previous Starlink mission, that it was isopropyl alcohol that got into a sensor or something like that, and messed up the sensor on it, which doesn't immediately sound like a fifth reuse issue, right? Or anything like that. And it doesn't appear to be a huge issue, if an issue at all, since they launched this one. Demo 2 is progressing on track. They're still static firing them like crazy out at McGregor. So gave us some good answers and some good paths forward as we head toward obviously the biggest mission they've ever done next month.
Gotcha.
Oh, and here's from Julia. This morning of the payload fairings being offloaded from one of the fairing catcher ships there. Yeah, not sure if that's Go Mystery or Go Mischief.
I see Mystery. I can read on the screen. It says Mystery.
So
it's behind your camera.
Mystery crap. Yeah.
So, our camera layouts here are very artsy, but they do cover up a little teeny tiny bit of the image.
And I think that name was right behind the image of me.
Yeah, it is. It is actually.
Yeah. Julia mentioned too, it was the weather conditions. It was the 84th flight of the Falcon 9. It took over from Atlas V as the leader in terms of the most flown, currently active rocket in the U.S. arsenal. It became the 4th most flown, currently active rocket in the world, behind Soyuz, Ariane 5, and Proton M. With this mission, so it was a huge milestone for SpaceX in and of itself, even though 84 is a weird number to celebrate as a milestone. It's just when it surpassed Atlas in terms of number of flights. So
yeah, gotcha.
But a good launch all around, and one that with the atmospheric conditions, every rocket launch is different, even though it's a Falcon 9, and we've seen 84 Falcon 9s now. They're all different, and this one you could really feel in your chest.
Yeah.
Just because of the atmospheric elements in play. But
I went back over to the shot that Julia took with one of the remote cameras here. I love the framing with the SpaceX logo in the building and the tower and all that sort of stuff.
You know what my favorite part of this photograph is? The pickup truck hiding behind the horizontal integration facility.
You can see a tiny little pickup truck. Look right here, y'all. It's right. I'll draw the big arrow for you, right? Worthless red circle. How's that?
It's fine. Just park it there.
It is. There's an active Falcon 9 taking off, and the pickup truck is hiding behind that sheet metal building.
Yeah, and you can actually see a car over toward the apron ramp of 39A, just below the tower there. You can see another one sticking out.
That looks like a Tesla.
It might be. I don't know. I just love it because we're so used to very clean pads, right? Nothing could be there for shuttle because it was a debris hazard, right?
Yeah.
and SpaceX is just the car can stay.
Look, I'm enhancing this. Hang on. There's only so many pixels though. Let's see.
Make it do what it does in CSI Miami where it repixelates.
Now sharpen this, right? I don't know. Anybody chat, what do y'all think? Do y'all think that's a Tesla or is that just
That's not a Tesla.
You don't think so?
That's not a Tesla.
No. All right. It
That's
looks
not
like a
Model
crossover,
X.
not a Tesla. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So next up here, everybody's saying no in chat. All right. They're like, no, that's a Ford. They would not a Tesla by far. All right. All right. So the next thing that we have to talk about here is MS-14 with Chris B. Chris, you ready to take away MS-14?
Yeah, go on then.
All right. Go ahead.
So yeah, MS-14 was launched last night on a Soyuz 2.1A, which was called Victory Rocket. They gave it a special name because it was part of the 75th anniversary of the divisive Soviet victory. I'm reading off Chris G's article here over Nazi Axis power of forces at the end of World War II in May 1945.
I was going to say that sounded familiar in my head.
That sounded familiar. Yeah, who wrote that? Yeah. And it docked 3 hours, 21 minutes later. That's on the fast-track rendezvous, which the Progress can use, which the Russians, Roscosmos, are using to utilize their Soyuz flights because they don't want to be stuck in a Soyuz for as long as possible they can be. So they're letting them get to the ISS fast as possible. And this has been in testing for several years now. But the 3 hours, 21 minutes, I think it was either close or very close to the record.
2 minutes, right?
2 minutes in it, I think it was, yeah. It was
3:19 is the record, I think.
You know what? There's some conjecture over that of the record because there's some timings of an earlier one which I reckon was a lot about 5 minutes earlier, but I've got to find that to be absolutely.
Okay.
But again, 3 hours 21 minutes, you can't argue about that. And that's the hatches have been opened now on the Z Roger, which is now where they're going to take the cargo out, and it'll be part of the next return, which will come back and be a destructive re-entry when it takes the trash back down again. Unlike the DM2 flight, which will be arriving in a month's time, which will be bringing up 2 astronauts and bringing them back home safely. So that's the difference. That's the advancements they're going to be making. And that'll be following after the HTV launch, which is coming up before that. And that's the next one to the ISS.
Gotcha. And there, I got to the picture of the ISS from the Progress cargo ship. So
yeah, it's always a great view, that, because that is the forward-facing camera on the Progress itself. They can use that for 2 reasons. One, it's automated docking, but they can turn to a Toru system, which will allow them to use a hand controller on an ISS in Russian segment and literally hand control it in manually if the automated Kura system fails during docking. So that's a very good thing to remember, because we all remember Mir, what happened with that Progress, which was crashed into the side of it and literally nearly caused a catastrophe on the Mir space station.
God.
Yeah.
No kidding. So there was a quick question I saw come through chat here about, this Progress got up there ridiculously fast, right? It was like 4 orbits or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. How long will it take DM2 to get there?
Is it 3 days, Chris?
1 day for DM. 1 day for the Dragons and the Starliners. They might take an extra day on Demo 1, or on Demo 2, excuse me, although I believe it's they're going to try to keep it to a day. But that's about all they need for Demo 2 because the Dragons are bigger than Soyuz. So it's not a like, oh my gosh, get them there as fast as,
They are literally driving in a Tesla to the ISS, aren't they? Compared to the
I mean, pretty much.
Yeah, which is flying in a antiquated 1960s car, basically. So there's a big difference. I don't think to be too upset about being stuck on a Dragon for a day.
Yeah. I guess Rob Navius said it during the broadcast. Demo 2 will be a 19-hour launch to docking rendezvous, according to Rob Navius.
19 hours, gotcha.
19 hours, there you go.
All right. So the other part that we normally have during the NSF Live here is the launches that are coming up this week. So the launches that are coming up this week segment is going to be really fast. Who wants to talk about the launches that are coming up this week?
I'll let Chris do, 'cause I don't think there is any, is there?
All right,
Chris.
cool. There are none.
Yeah, exactly.
Moving on.
It just sounds better when he says it.
Moving right along, there are no launches that we're aware of, right? That are scheduled for this week.
I believe the next one is theoretically May 1st, but there's a lot of...
The Chinese might launch something by surprise.
You never know, yeah.
Well, and it's a Chinese launch. It's their new crew vehicle.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But there's a lot of up in the air questions about whether or not that'll happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do so. I was gonna see if we could have like a cheeky graphic that's like launches this week, and it's just blank. But anyways, it's been a super busy couple weeks here, so we're okay taking a little bit of time off, I think. Are these more super chats that have come in? In between the segments, I'm trying to grab the super chats.
And some members as well. So I was going to read them out myself, but I know we do it at the end of each segment. So
Yeah. Do you want to read them out, or you want me to get them? What do you want to do?
Do you want to read them out? Because I've got too many windows open.
Okay, I got it.
My computer might blow up.
So first one there, Ron Smith. Thanks for the $20. This is a rare event. It's Chris B in person, right?
He's a long-time member.
There you go.
Yes, he is.
The next segment coming up will be quite interesting to him.
Then we got 14 South African rands. That's Jacob Kessa. Sorry, Jacob, if I mispronounced your name, but thank you for the 14 South African rands. Alan McDonald, Donald, $10. Nicholas Shaw, $10. This is great coverage of building the machine that builds the machine. Excellent. Stephen Sharner, that was a PadRat sign up, so a membership to the channel here for Stephen Sharmer. Welcome to PadRat. Dwight H.M. PadRat as well, and then Chris Pukala. I'm going to go with 10 Canadian. Thank you very much for that. There's a question in that one. Let me pop back around real quick. There's a couple of things that are coming through in questions. So Panda Productions did $4.99 as well. Let's do this. We'll save those 2 questions for the end when we do Max Q&A with the time we have remaining. And let's keep on going on with the next segment here, and we'll put those into the other chat queue.
I'll take that one, Panda, as well.
Yeah, there's some other people talking about that stuff over there. But let's keep on moving on for now. And are y'all ready for the next shindig here?
Is it
I think so.
I guess so. So we mentioned, and I ask, right? I ask people. It's part of the way that I telegraph what's coming up next because, Das is asking about the next segment. So the next thing that we're going to talk about here on NASA Spaceflight Live is, unsurprisingly, NASA Spaceflight. 15 years now, NASA Spaceflight's been, I don't know, Chris B, in operation since you first started the website. Like, how did you even start this thing?
Since I first decided it was a good idea to do, and then soon after kind of started regretting it, and luckily it turned around quite fast.
It turned around quite well.
Yeah.
So I've got
one of those. It was almost a drunken night where I thought, let's just buy the site name and see what happens.
I love this advertising after the fact here, back around 2005, because you can see some of the things are actually dated 3/1/2005 on there. New site going live, it says. This is the old school site. Is this the first site?
Yeah, this is literally. I bought the host name, the domain. Again, the name of it was basically a decision within hours. I was thinking of shuttle space flight, but that didn't. Luckily, I did think at the time. I thought, well, shuttle is retiring because this was literally around the time of return to flight, where the VSC had been said, where we said we're going to do the last final flights of the shuttle to finish off the ISS and then retire the shuttle. So I thought, no, I can't do shuttle space flight.
Right.
I thought, well, we're covering NASA vehicles. We're covering like the Orion, which was a CEV at the time. Future X was a playback to the Venture Star, the old X vehicles, the X-33, all those vehicles there, because he used to follow those quite religiously. And of course, shuttles. And of course, they're all NASA vehicles, aren't they? So NASASpaceflight. No one thought about SpaceX or anything like that. So,
Not in 2005, what?
Yeah.
Oh, we may have just froze up Chris there.
Oh.
Yeah, we just hiccuped for a second. Wait one. We'll get it shuffled around. Chris. All right, Michael Baylor, stop your video and restart it for me. We just barely lost Chris for a second there, but we will shuffle back in, and we should be back. What's up now, Zoom?
I'm back.
All right, now we're good. We're shuffled back in. Good.
Right. Was that my fault?
Nah, you're good. Just keep on going like nothing happened. You're fine.
Nothing happened. So yeah, well, basically, I asked this friend of mine who I knew. I said, let's step back a bit for the reason why I started the site. As a shuttle fan, there's not many places I could talk about space flight, shuttle at a time. There was space.com's message board, and there was a few mailing lists where you literally send an email, it joins an email chain. That was kind of message boards at the time. There was no Facebook, there was no Twitters, none of that business. Space.com, SDC as we all knew it, was the only real forum which covered the space shuttle. And for some reason, that just turned into a pit of despair after Columbia, which might be understandable, but it turned into quite a nasty place, saying, Mashuda killed those people. It was pretty nasty stuff. And a lot of the shuttle fans on there were saying this place is just going to the dogs. And it was just, I wish someone started another site up. We could all go there. And I thought, I know, I'll do it. So me, myself, a NASA guy who I know, who's now still with a site called Peter. I won't give his surname away. one of the shuttle guys from the United Space Alliance. We put our heads together about a site that would work for shuttle. We thought we'll make it engineering, we'll make it very singular focus on the space shuttle. We'll have a forum for it so we could let people come and talk on there without fearing that we're going to be joining a bunch of arguments. We'd have lots of moderators. We'll make sure it's strongly moderated, which we still do to this day. And we started it off and we thought, here we go. We'll need some writers in. We'll need people to help with the forum. We'll need all this business. And it was a wing and a prayer to start with. So you can see there, we just basically asked people if they wanted to help the site and take it forward. And we were ready to be launched ahead of STS-114, which is a return to flight mission for shuttle Discovery. And that's where our first big story came from. If you click on the PAL ramp link, which will be in the file for you.
Was that the right one there? The PAL ramp?
Now, that is a newer version of the new site, but it was on the old site at the time. Imagine that, because that's the only way we could bring it up. During STS-114 launch, if you can remember, anyone who remember the shuttle launch, a big chunk of foam came off during off the ET called the PAL ramp, which you can see in the top picture there. That came off, and everyone thought, oh my goodness, I've not fixed the problem with the foam coming off the external tank. And if you scroll down a little bit on that screen, you can see that it's actually a work area where one of the workmen had stood on the tank on a mat, and it basically caused an indentation, which it then debonded and came off during flight. So they knew what the problem was, so they could refly again without the fear of it happening again. Now, this story was just basically passed on to me from the shuttle people who I knew. And I didn't realize that Reuters, Associated Press, all those guys would see it and take the story from us, and they link back to us. And that was our first real explosion of users, people coming through to the site. The site went from $25 a month in hosting to $100 a month in hosting. And I was thinking, I can't afford to do this. This is getting ridiculous. It'll be accelerating. And that's where we started L2. The NASA guys saying, we'll help you. We'll give you some little, tidbits, and we're putting L2. And other guys were saying, put your big videos in L2 so you're not getting bandwidth problems. And that's where L2 started off. And then the first people who joined L2, remember, there was no structure to it. There was no 2 month, 6 month, 1 year. It was basically just send $5 or whatever, and we'll put you into L2. And that became the model for our subscription area, which we still use today. And it still pays for the service to this day. So that's how that all started off. From this story, that's why I linked it. This was our first story that got linked by other sites, by the mainstream media. God. And the reason why we jumped in users, the reason why we jumped in costs, the reason why we had to find a way of paying for the costs, because, these things are not going to run on advertisements when they're a brand new site.
Yep.
And that's where the whole platform for this site came from, and how we run it and how we run it to this day. So that's where that came from. That's when we started improving the site's look, as you can start seeing on now, which is a slight version up of the site, but an old story from 2005, July 29, 2005. Where someone called Chris Bergin, I don't know who he is.
Who's that guy?
I don't think he lasted long. Yeah, so we move on.
Yeah, sure. I got the 2006 screenshots. Is that what this is?
Let's go back in time through Wayback Machine.
Yeah, here you go. So that was 2005. This one's 2006.
So that's actually the best thing about this is the menu on the left-hand side. You can start seeing where we're expanding our coverage. We're still shuttle. We're still very much focused on shuttle. I think all the articles there are all about shuttle, apart from one Proton M launch, which is when we started covering other launches as well. You got Ares 1, Ares 5. Remember those guys?
Right.
Got European space flight. We started covering the European sites. The commercial was mainly United Launch Alliance or Lockheed Martin going at the time. Mm-hmm. And those Atlas 5, Delta 4 launches. Sea Launch was one of the first commercial launches we covered. We used to love covering Sea Launch. They were fantastic. SpaceX was just coming to Falcon 1 at the time. I remember around this time I got an email from a guy called Elon Musk saying, would you like to interview me? So straight up, total word of truth, saying, would you like to interview me? And Braddock Caddock did 6 articles with his interviews, which I'll link on the forum later, on the chat room later, because they're all old site. You can hardly read them now, but we'll find a transcript for him. And he was talking about things like reusability, talking about making it life multiplanetary. He was talking about that before Falcon 1 first launched. I remember after the third flight failed, I sent him an email, which was stupid. You don't send someone an email right after a launch fail. But I did for some reason. I said, you know, my short experience tells me you'll fight back from this. And he sent back a thank you. I thought, this guy's just lost his third rocket, which probably nearly killed SpaceX. And he'd replied back within minutes to an email from some guy he doesn't know. I thought that was pretty neat and kind of reflection of what kind of guy he is.
No kidding.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's when we started covering SpaceX really properly, because we were the first really to do some interview features with them on the engineering side of things. Other sites obviously did as well, no question about it. But there was something different about SpaceX. You could really tell there was something very different about SpaceX and the way they were approaching things and their future potential. Even when their Falcon 1s were failing, they had Falcon 9 ready to go almost, and Dragon launches, and ISS resupply, the commercial resupply missions, which were the game changer for NASA, because they were going to launch Orion on Ares 1 to the ISS, which was overpowered. So that was their turning point as well for shuttle retirement, to move towards handing over low Earth orbit to the commercial sector and handing over beyond Earth orbit for NASA's concentration, their focus on the moon, Mars, and beyond, as they used to call it at the time. So that's where we started transitioning as we go forward to the next page, if you can.
Well, actually, I want to pause on this page because
Sure.
What's it about this time you started joining us, Chris?
you managed to pick without knowing the exact article that I found first for NASA Spaceflight.
Oh my goodness, really? Now that's
No focused inspection on Discovery's December flight in 06. Yeah, 116.
Wow.
Yeah, that is the first article that I read from the site.
Because I can't click on that link. I only got the screenshot from the
Well, and when I was reviewing it earlier before the
Wow.
show, I was like, how? My God, how did he find that? Yeah.
And that's the big, probably the biggest thing of the site is everyone who's come and joined and been part of the team. If it had been just me, and there's a few sites out there which just one guy like Doug Messier with Parabolic Arc and people like that who stuck with it, their own one-man show sites. I don't know how to do it because it's so much hard work. I would not have been able to do that. The site would not have survived that way. No way at all, because we've all got our day jobs. It's a full-time job to do this kind of thing if you do it on your own. So to have a team, and like Chris just said, he came on board at this time, it just shows how it took us forward. Again, it's the next leap. It's the people involved. It's the webmasters. It's the writers, the forum moderators. It's all sorts of people involved, and the community itself as well, who support what they think is a good site. And they take it forward as well because we can afford to buy things like new servers. The servers, you don't know how much they cost now. You don't want to know.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of money involved. And I'll show you an example of why on the final link. So I don't want to preempt it too much. But yeah, we're going to the next one, Daz.
Got it. It's loading.
Oh, it's probably the Wayback Machine. Here we go. Next page up. Look at this. You can see we're getting all these fancy little... That scrolling black bar there would actually scroll the news stories, the top news stories.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And at the time of the site, you can see the graphics have improved. The logo's now got little Ares next to it. Because Ares 1 was the big rocket of hope at the time. That didn't last long.
But it was good to see fly that once.
Yeah.
There's a
Ares
drop
1
shadow, too. Look at that nice drop shadow. See?
Yeah. And it's just the way you can see the site's moving on phase by phase to try and improve its appearance. Content is everything. I'll tell anyone who starts a website, it doesn't matter how fancy it looks and how many bells and whistles they've got. Content is everything. It's the articles people want, the information people want, not any fancy shining graphics or anything like that. But to get some kind of good presentation involved is very important as well. So that was the important reason of showing these Wayback Machines, the way you can take the site forward. Because we're still here. What year we're in now, Daz?
2010 is the next one.
2010, 10 years ago.
Yeah, there's the next. This is 10 years ago, yeah.
Not a terrible looking site, to be fair.
Wow.
And there we can see what the actual way the top stories would present themselves. You can see with the pictures there, and that was STS 130. Yeah, and you can see we did articles for shuttle launches. We would do articles each day. Each flight day would have a new article, a new flight day thread. We used to cover each flight day live, play by play. And on flight day 2, when they did TPS inspections with the OBS, we used to have pages and pages of posts of people taking a screenshot of, this is the next tile, that's the next tile.
Of everything,
that's the next
yeah.
tile. Does that look, it's got a bit of a mark on it. That tile's got a mark on it. Next tile. So it was an incredible dedication from the people who are covering these launches live.
And I remember that. So by this point, I was writing. I'd been with us for several years. And I remember some of these missions, like the ones really toward the end of the program where there weren't a lot of issues. There weren't a lot of things to look at, on the vehicles. And you would get to like day 15 and it's like, okay, what are we going to write about?
There was a post-shuttle mission thing called IFA, in-flight anomaly reviews. It doesn't mean there's an anomaly, it's just reviewing what went wrong or if anything went wrong. And the other thing called ROI, regions of interest on the TPS. And every mission, in order, the regions of interest got lower and lower as less and less foam came off the external tank, less and less damage to the TPS. Every mission in a row got cleaner and cleaner and cleaner to the point that STS-135 was arguably the safest, cleanest shuttle flight. That's finishing strong. And that stuck with me for a long time because that was a lot of people who were about to lose their jobs at the end of the shuttle program. 4,000 people, I think it was in the end. And they went out on a finish strong mentality. And that sticks with you because a lot of those guys are now with SpaceX, ULA, Blue Origin. They've all moved on to those commercial companies, and those companies will benefit so much from that shuttle experience and that dedication to the vehicles. So I think things like that, you can just sometimes sit back and remember the shuttle program, had problems, but everyone's benefited from it now because of the dedication that workforce put in to those vehicles and now paying off on the new vehicles.
Yep.
Next slide, that's before I get emotional about shuttle.
I'm going to delay before I put the next slide up. No, I'm kidding.
All right.
There you go.
Yeah, thanks.
Look at this new logo.
Show it on camera.
Is that NASCAR?
This is getting closer now. This is getting closer to recent years. This is where we started advertising L2 quite a lot more because, for full disclaimer, the site was costing that much. We really needed people to join L2. But L2, the thing about L2 is it's extremely cool. If I was a spaceflight fan and I wanted to get more content, I would definitely join L2. But you can't really push the advertisement of L2 too much because it is meant to be a support structure. It's not meant to be for people thinking, I don't care about NASASpaceflight. I just want to see these exclusive videos and this exclusive information. You want people to join for the right reasons. So that's why we don't push it too much. We put it on there, show that what kind of thing it's got in there. But the best message I get is I've joined for 2 months because I really love your site. That is the best thing. That's the best thing you can hope for, people supporting it. And then you're going to repay them by giving them some really good content in L2. So that's the best way around it for that. And that's when we started kind of pushing it, but not too much. Like what's popular on L2, it was SLS launch flow planning. Wow, remember that? SLS was close to launch.
Back when it was all white and black.
All white and launched in 2017. Yeah, I just remember the actual article about it. Yeah. And we can see there we started covering Chinese launches, progress launches. Obviously, we're still covering them, but we're broadening out our coverage more and more commercial, unmanned launches, the ISS actual vehicle updates on the ISS status and things like that. So we can move on from there.
Sure. The next one is the 2005 forums, I think, right?
Oh, here we go. Yes, yeah. So we can go back to the forums. The early days of the forum.
Oh, jeez.
This could be more fun.
Look at that.
Look at this.
And that was it.
PHP, the first kind of PHP, this. And you can see just the amount of topics are so much less than what we've got now.
Yeah.
And it's dominated by shuttle. Each orbiter's got their own section. You know what? I've had a lot of people say, why don't you dilute down the shuttle section to just one section now and put all the orbiters together? I thought, nah, not as long as I'm running this site. I'm never going to change it. Discovery, Atlantis, Endeavour. We've even got other missions as well. We've got a 4 section for shuttle. I'm not going to change that because it's our DNA of the site. We started as a shuttle site, and I think you should always respect your history and always honour these vehicles for the reason I just gave.
Yep.
Their legacy is still living on today, and the new vehicles. You can see there's no L2 there. This is before L2. This is basically a pure forum. And for anyone who start thinking of starting a space site, if you have a forum, use a Discord, something like that. Don't set up your own hosted PHP forum. They drain money. They literally drain money. There's so much bandwidth going through these forums. It's ridiculous. So that's what I'd say is have a Discord channel next to your site rather than your own dedicated PHP forum. We can move on to the next one. Wait, look at that.
On to the next one. So the next one's actually a live one from the Wayback Machine.
Online.
Let's see here. This one is actually live on the Wayback Machine, so I'm not quite. Let's see if I can get this.
Wow. Hopefully we can scroll through this. Here we go. Look at this.
Yeah, more in the center of the screen like that. There we go.
And this
How's
is
that?
what it looked like when I found it. Yeah.
You know what? I still like this.
Yeah.
Because, Mark, one of our webmasters, one of our main webmasters, he designed these graphics.
Yeah.
And if you can look at the graphic, it shows the RPK vehicle on the banner at the top. If you go back to the top again.
This one here, the L2 banner.
Go back, there we go.
Okay.
Just quickly show you that. The RPK vehicle, that didn't last long. That was a commercial resupply vehicle. And it was going to launch and land like Falcon, like the SpaceX rockets. But it never passed the down select stage. And I think they went bust soon after, sadly. Yeah, we can scroll back down now, though, because that was the first L2 sections we had there. We had our top section was just dedicated on one mission, which was STS-120. We'd rotate that through the shuttle missions. But some of our shuttle L2 content was the best. We had shuttle engineers who would come back from the pad with photographs of what they've been working on and put the photographs in L2. And you could then ask them questions. This is before the commercial sector got all proprietary and export control. This was in the day of NASA, United Space Alliance, all these guys who could basically just talk out loud and tell you anything. It's fantastic. And then you could see the dedicated sections as you go down. Got Orion, Ares V, which is now SLS effectively.
Yeah.
Effectively, nice.
Same beast on a different name. ISS status updates. We've still got these sections. We've just expanded
We
since.
do.
Yeah.
No
And you can
kid-
see even by now, even these early days, we were quite a busy forum.
Yep. This was 2007 was the one I just loaded here. That's
2007, we've got nearly 10,000 registered users.
No
And those are the people online right then, that moment.
Oh,
So,
yeah, right there. Yeah.
It's already busy. We
No
can move on to
kidding.
the next.
Got it. There you go.
Yep.
There's the next one. That's 2012, I think.
Wow.
Oh, there's the Ares 1 roller coaster.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it is. It's right
That was
there.
a
You can
big
see
story as
it.
Well, yeah, that was a big story. That's when USA Today linked us saying we've confirmed this story is true because everyone thought it was a joke, and it did look like a joke. I must admit, we talked about it on the NSF Live. People thought it was a joke, and it wasn't a joke. It was real. And USA Today, that's NASA saying it's a joke because they didn't know if we were a real site or not. They knew we were a space site, but didn't know if we were like journalistic integrity or anything like that. So they asked the NASA administrator, what's this about a roller coaster on the launch pad for Ares 1? And he goes, oh, yeah, it won the down select. So they ran a story and linked back to us. And that's when we got another surge of people coming towards us. And that's when we advance again. It's all about those little things that take you forward. It's just luck of the draw. If you get a big site linking you. And that's why I kind of like when new sites, they get linked by us. And they say, wow, we got a real benefit being linked on that spaceflight. I'm thinking, well, that's great because that's how we got the boosts. So we're now paying it forward, I should say.
Yep. And I'm just scrolling down as you chat here. So
this is like looking back at your child's photographs. It really is. This is when she went to school.
Yeah.
I'm just reading some of the topics as well. Skylon, that's still going, still not flown.
there's a lot more sections here in 2000.
We're covering the retirement flights of the shuttles now.
Yeah.
Servicing retirement.
God.
Oh my gosh, that's before SLS had a name.
Yeah, it was around this time people were saying, what are you going to do now? Because shuttles retired. The commercial launches were still very much in the
Well,
infancy.
and remember, Chris, NASA had shut down.
Yeah. Everyone's saying that's it. No more shuttle. Everyone's shut down. The VAB is going to get knocked down. But yeah, and how wrong were they?
So it scrolled all the way down to the bottom, and it's almost 23,000 members here.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just keep. That's the trick. You don't lose members, but you got to keep adding them. So that's the thing. Obviously, when you register, you don't unregister. So the number's always going up, but it's the amount it's going up by.
Yep.
Is the key growth. And the thing with the forum is 95% of people who go on our forum are guests. They don't register.
Right.
They're just guests. So that's the big number we get. People just literally click on the forum without joining for a membership. So they can't post, but they can read anything they want. So that's where we get a lot of people come through.
Look at this. Look at this. SpaceX in a single section right here.
Wow.
One section for one forum for SpaceX. In the last post, even look at what the last post was. Man to Dragon. How difficult will it be? So there's something about. So how timely is that?
Is that by Jim?
Yeah, it says
Jim.
Jim.
Says bound to be a person.
Yeah.
Yes, no, or unsubstituted. Yeah. A big yes, no answer from Jim on that one. But yeah,
right.
SpaceX, one section. Where from to SpaceX? What happened to them?
Yeah. And that was 2012. I guess 2014 was the next one here. So let me pop over to that one real quick. It continues to make changes. Apparently, the forum got slightly wider there. So
yeah, that's a bit of an improvement.
Yeah,
we still
yeah.
have that thin border on the right hand side. We've expanded that since, but we'll show that in the last link. But advertisements, another thing people might ask about. How much money do you make from adverts? You don't make a lot of money from adverts. You really don't.
Right.
That used to be a thing 10, 15 years ago. It kind of is a thing on YouTube because it's videos. And that's why you see a lot of video adverts on like Fox News, CNN. They play videos before their videos because that's where the money is. It's now on video content advertising.
Right.
But it's nice to have these adverts. Novotech have been with us for years and years and years. Dan, he's with that company. They've kept with us, and we're going to stick with them as well in return. AMRO were our first sponsors. NGIS, which was formerly Orbital ATK, now Northrop Grumman. They've stuck with us. So it kind of like, it means a lot.
Yeah.
When a company isn't there just for a quick flash kind of like promotion campaign, they're there to support you as well. So that means a lot. But there's not a lot of money in advertisement, really isn't. That's why a lot of sites have Patreons, subscription areas, support mechanisms that allow people to help pay the bills, because the days of advertisements paying for all your running costs are gone. They just don't exist anymore.
Right. I think the last thing I've got queued up here is the current day site, right?
Right, brilliant, yeah.
So there's all the way up to current days.
And I think this will be, here we go. This is the reason why I wanted to click on this link, because this is one section of one of the SpaceX forum sections on the forum.
Oh.
This is 3 layers down. This is just on Starship and Super Heavy.
I love how you said that. One section of a section of a space. Yeah.
Wait, I could actually back up. So
Look at
there's
the
that,
views
and then there's
on these
SpaceX.
threads.
Yeah, look. There's SpaceX vehicles right there. Vehicles and missions.
Yeah, that's right. So you got
Yeah, I'm scrolling all over the place, but look how big it is now.
5, there's 6, but it's technically 5 because one of them is just for large mega threads we put into an archive so people find them easy to find. But,
Right. Gotcha. So that's there's been a lot of time coming up to this. I love to see it sort of through the years, and I'm glad we got the Wayback Machine shots there to just see what it used to look like and that sort of thing.
Well, just to say that we've got one section of SpaceX, one section called SpaceX Super Heavy and Starship, on one thread, which the third thread is 5 million views.
God.
One thread of pictures and videos. It's 5 million views. So that's 2 things there. That costs a lot of damn money, but also it just shows the popularity that's around these days for not just SpaceX, not just for Starship, but basically, spaceflight. And it's fantastic. It's what motivates you when you see that many people being interested in the subject you're interested in and that you're covering and giving them in return to be able to cover and be able to talk about on a forum like this. So that's what makes it worthwhile.
Well, and yeah, I mean, it's that feeling like, when we're doing live streams, when we're when like myself and Julia were at the SpaceX launch earlier this week, and we're in our zone. We're just talking. We have no idea how many people are watching. We have no idea how many people we're interacting with. And then it takes a couple hours after that. And I know, like, after the last one, I texted you, Chris, and I said, hey, how did we do? What were the viewing figures? And you sent me the photograph or screenshot, and I was just like, my Lord.
40,000
yeah.
Not many.
No, just,
Yeah.
So y'all,
I won't tell you what the reply was. It was a happy explanation, put it that way.
It was indeed.
The thing I want to get across, though, Daz, before we finish this section, is that, a lot of luck's involved in this. A lot of teamwork's involved in this. A lot of things could have gone very seriously wrong with this. So I thank my lucky stars for the team I've got with me, who have made this site possible and taken it forward. And we've got a long way to go. So I will say out loud to the 1,200 people still on listening, thinking they've all gone from Starship. The people still listening, if you want to help out. We'll take it, because it is a team effort. There's a lot more things we can do, we'd like to do. And the healthier NASA Spaceflight is, because it's got a forum, the healthier everyone else will be, because people link their sites on that forum. They talk about their products, their videos on our forum. So the more we advance, the more people we get on there, the more they'll grow by being linked on a site like ours, and so on. So it's a very circular thing that we can all help each other as a community, not just as a site.
Yep, absolutely. I can tell you, I'm sort of new to NASA Spaceflight, right? In the last couple of years, when I started doing live stream stuff with y'all, and before that, it was just sort of me out there doing my live streams, right? And it's so hard to accomplish something when you're just yourself, like out there going. And I had chat moderators and stuff, but the fact that NSF is a team of people with all sorts of different skill sets that sort of come together to make this coverage, is a good overarching term. The forums and graphics that are made, the renders that are made, and then videos that are made, and all the stuff going on in Boca Chica. And then Jack Bear is in chat over here, and I know that he's editing a Boca Chica right now while we're doing this show.
Master editor.
All the different things that go into making this happen. It's really impressive, Chris. So
I should say to Jack, he's a brilliant photographer as well. So before I give him an editorial tag, but he's great. It's just everyone joins in, everyone's got their own skills, and I'm repeating what you're saying, but everyone brings something to the table. Everyone brings something to the team.
Yep, absolutely. So we knew this was going to happen, right? We knew that we were going to start talking about the history of NASA spaceflight, and it was going to go long. We were supposed to finish this segment like 10 minutes ago. You know something? No. I'm not going to be the guy that's like, okay, Chris, that's enough talking about NASA spaceflight. Turn it off, whatever.
I just looked at the time and thought, uh-oh.
Yeah. No, you know something? This is our show, and we can talk about whichever topic we want to talk about for as long as we want to. Yeah. So if you get into looking at the old Wayback Machine things, I'm not going to stop you.
Which is how I found the part of the site, the original welcome page.
Yep.
Right, the first one we showed. I had just gotten on, and it was one night. It was like 2:00 in the morning. I found that through Wayback Machine, found the link that took me to the do you want to write for NSF?
Yep.
And sent you a PM on site. And it was like 2:00 in the morning my time, so it was like 6 or 7 your time. In the morning, and you wrote back almost immediately, and which should be no surprise to anyone. But I'll never forget what you said. I still have it, actually. I have the first couple of DMs that you sent to me, and you said, "Wow, I don't even know how you found that. Didn't know it was still live or searchable."
Yeah.
And you said, "But you are the first person in 2 or 3 years, however long that had been up at that point, that wrote in completely spelled out words to me instead of you are looking for,
I write about spaceships."
Yes. Yes.
Oh gosh! So there's a great question that came in while we were chatting about that, and we have another couple questions we can pop through here. But this is relevant to the history of NASA spaceflight, and you were talking about the forums would get popular, and all of a sudden it's great because the forums are popular, and it's like, oh, we got to pay for this, right?
Yeah.
So what was the busiest mission, space event, whatever for NASASpaceflight.com?
Right. It was in stages. It was definitely shuttle launches to start with.
Right.
Launch and landings, especially. There was the Mars, I forget which one it was, Curiosity landing was a massive event.
Right.
That really pushed things, but that was quite a sensible spread of people over a amount of time. I think our record might have been Falcon Heavy's first flight, and we were smashing records all over the place. We were getting like 200 people a second through, and that is literally a mainstream news media website's kind of like ratio of visitations. So
I remember that day praying that praying that the hamster servers were fine.
Mark had got it set up so it could survive. It could upscale all the time. Yeah. And it went wrong as he was doing that program to do upscaling. So we went down for a few minutes earlier way into the count, hours before the launch, and everyone thought there's no way we'll cope with the actual launch itself, but it was basically upscaling at the time, and we survived it. But that was crazy. That was hundreds of people a second coming through to the site.
Well, I'm personally glad y'all survived it. I mean, I imagine you are as well. But I'm glad that you stuck around even when you hit little bumps like that. Like I said, the double-edged sword of it's really popular, and how are we going to pay for all this bandwidth, right?
Well, and I want to say too, like when, for our live cast, for our web coverages of launches now, right? What you see is whatever camera I've got. DOS, if you're there with me too, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're switching back and forth between our cameras. That takes 3 or 4 people behind the scenes that you never see. And that's just for the live stream part, right? Then you've got Chris and everyone else having to make sure the forums and everything are staying up and running, and the news site is still up and running, as traffic comes through for these launches.
Yeah.
It takes quite a few people each time we get to one of those busy events to make it all work.
I mean, even just think about this. When the overlay down here changes, I'm not doing it. These guys aren't doing it. Michael Baylor's making that happen, but you don't see Michael Baylor on camera right now. The people that are getting questions and stuff, like all the super chats, which I have a log of things to talk through here. All the super chats, people are grabbing those and putting them over here so we can see it. So there's so much that happens on behind the scenes. And personally, I have a very high appreciation for the people that are helping us make this happen, So can I do that real quick? I've got a couple super chats that came in while we were reminiscing about the history of NASA spaceflight. We got, let's see, I'm scrolling up to find the beginning. There we go. Dave Wolf, thanks for the $20 there. Thanks for all the great vids and info. Boat Jotman, $10. Hope Mary gets some of this. Mary definitely deserves a lot of love, and Mary is well taken care of. Jared Copland, thanks for the stream. Great info. Ron Smith, nothing like back in 1999, refreshing the X-33 construction camera. What?
Oh, yes. God, I've got to join in.
Yeah.
I used to go to a coffee shop in York, where I'm from. And I used to go on an internet cafe there where they had a one-a-day web page, which would update with a screenshot from the webcam of Skunkworks, Lockheed Martin Skunkworks, of the X-33. I used to do that myself, and that was 1999.
Once a day. You'd get a new image once a day.
Once a day, they'd update this web stream. It wasn't even a stream, it was one photograph per day.
Y'all are spoiled. YouTube, you're spoiled because we had a live shot from Boca Chica on earlier, and we're going to be bringing more of that. All the videos that you get every day. Imagine having to wait all day and refresh and get a single screen capture of a single view of a camera.
And like 1999, that was big stuff back in 1999.
Oh, yeah. And the actual photo would load like this.
Yes.
All the way down, yeah.
And it would get stuck like halfway through a
You
line.
can see.
Yeah.
You could see it scanning as it loaded, right?
Yeah.
Oh, no. We had another one here. Welcome to Padrat, Nat H. Thank you for the Padrat membership join there. Again, the memberships are new for the channel. If you want to support the streams, the launch streams, the live coverage, the NASA Spaceflight Live, everything that we do, the videos, you can become a channel member. And we have a massive amount of thanks for people there. We got to that question. Mr. Huggy, thanks for the 5 curly L's as well. Dan Straight, launch director. Adam Lamar, $10. Thanks for everything. I just blew through those as fast as I could. I got the questions. Let me make sure I didn't miss any of those other questions because we're right at 6:30 right now. There are some, they're not really.
We have the 2 super chat questions.
Yeah. Do you want to, can we do those really quickly? Chris Pucala there. Do the orbital mechanics work for a fast rendezvous from the Cape? So can they do it?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
The sheer orbital mechanics of it, right, of a rendezvous like that would work.
Right.
The trick is we don't actually need to do that with the U.S. launch vehicles. So we're not going to attempt to.
Because our vehicles are big and spacious, right? America.
So let me put it this way. The Soyuz is built for like 2 people and they put 3 in.
Right.
The Starliners and Dragons are built for 7 people and they put 4 in.
Right.
Yeah.
So a lot more room in those than the cramped little Soyuz compact car that's taking you up to the ISS. So to summarize the question, yes, we could do that from the Cape. It's not orbital mechanics stopping us. It's that we have big American rockets launching from American soil, and there's room to stretch out in there, so we don't need to get there really quickly. I'm sure that Crew Dragon could get there more quickly if it wanted to, right? Probably.
I mean, most likely. I mean, it depends on tweaking the rocket's trajectory a little bit to get it into a position to do something like that. if you ended up wanting to.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so the other question that we missed there, hey guys, appreciate all the work you do. This is Panda Productions, and you guys think you could explain how the cryo test works. So really quickly, it's 6:31. I know that we're a minute over, but I'm not cutting short the history of NASA spaceflight. I'm not going to be that guy, and I'm the one in charge of clicking the buttons. So this question here about the cryo test, how is the cryo test going to work? That's coming up hopefully later tonight. The window opens, right?
Yeah, I'll quickly tell that one. It's going to do two tests: proof testing and cryo testing.
Proof test is first. Thank you.
Is liquid nitrogen. You're going to fill it with liquid nitrogen and see if it basically doesn't leak.
Right.
Which will be the test. And then they'll put it with a cryo test in liquid oxygen. We think methane, but it depends. Definitely liquid oxygen. And they'll basically pressurize it under cryo and see how it copes with that. That's the last time it pops. So hopefully it'll be okay.
Yeah. So last time it made it through the proof test, but
liquid oxygen wrong.
Gotcha. Did I get that correct? Last time it made it through the proof test, but then the cryo test.
Yeah, it made it
is
through
what
the proof
popped it.
test, but not the cryo test.
Yeah. Okay.
That's when they depressurized the wrong one.
Right. The order of
Yeah.
operations or something, basically, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
eventually it'll run on methane and liquid oxygen, so that's the whole point. But I don't think they bother with the methane just yet.
Yeah. Gotcha.
It'd be a flare stack if we saw that. We'd see a flare stack if it was.
All right. So let's see here. I know there's so many questions. Every time we do this, we always get more questions than is possible. It takes you about 15 seconds, chat, if you're watching at home. It takes you 15 seconds to type a question out, and then we talk about it for 3 or 4 minutes. And you do that times, at one point there were 2,000 people watching, still almost 1,200 hanging out with us. We are never able to get through all of the questions whenever we do these streams. But it's 6:33 now, and that brings us up on the end of NASA Spaceflight Live for this week. So again, we appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Chris G on the side over here. Chris G, assistant. What's your right title?
Assistant managing editor.
Assistant managing editor for NASASpaceflight.com. Also down
There's
at
an
the
office. There's an office joke.
There's an office joke about it.
Well, I was going to say there's an office joke, like it's assistant to the regional man. Like
Where's my coffee?
right.
But you'll see Chris G on the lunch streams down at the Cape as well. Also writes articles. You see his writing sprints on Twitter and stuff like that. If you want to keep up with Chris, you can find him at Twitter, ChrisG_NSF, if one of the mods could get that link in chat. And then on my other side, of course,
right under my name.
right under your name. Yeah, make a clickable
Right under
link.
my picture, right next to me. Yeah.
Yep. And on the other side, our other co-host for today, Chris Bergin, the founder of NASASpaceflight.com. You can find him, as it turns out, on Twitter at NASA Spaceflight. Just somebody put that clickable link in the chat for us. And I am your host. I am John Galloway. If you watch my Twitch stream where I play a lot of Kerbal Space Program, I am the person who's clicking the buttons over here and sort of making these things happen for now. But we do want to thank everybody for showing up today. Chris and Chris, thank y'all so much for the time. Mary, Boca Chica gal, she's not here in the stream anymore, but she joined us with some live video from Boca Chica earlier. Massive thanks to Mary. She's out there recording what's going on, so we should be seeing more video from her shortly. If Jack is still here, there's a video that's in the work. But let's go ahead and call it NASA Spaceflight Live for this week. Last thing that I'm going to do, really quickly, we have, as part of our thanking everyone, our launch directors. If you've joined the YouTube channel as a launch director membership level or above, at the end of every broadcast, we'll put your name up here on the screen. When we started this broadcast, Levi
Chamber pressure looks good.
crazy amount
Rolling out.
and then also, over the course of the stream, Dan joined as a launch director. We apologize that this is not a live list yet, but we really do appreciate you. Again, if you join as launch director above, end of every episode, we will thank you and say thank you very much for the support. So, that being said, apparently it's playing the Vizio outlay at the same time. I hate that that does that. But we will go ahead and say goodbye. And thank you all for joining us. NASA Spaceflight Live, Episode 5. See you next week, 5 p.m. Saturday, here on our YouTube channel. Like and subscribe or something. Sorry about the music there. The music was loud and I wasn't hearing it on my end. Later, nerds.
Chamber pressure looks good.
Rolling out.